Good afternoon. Health screenings have started at major airports to prevent the spread of Ebola. According to national reports, smaller airports are now also taking extra precautions. News 13's Gabrielle Burkhardt spoke with officials at the Albuquerque Sunport about what they're doing. She's live in the
Kim, the effort to screen travelers from the 3 West African countries most affected by Ebola started this weekend at JFK in New York and will expand to at least 4 more this week. Here at the Sunport, officials say it has been discussed. Sunport officials say Albuquerque does not have direct flights from countries with the deadly virus, so they're not directly concerned. You may recall UNM Hospital had a possible Ebola patient in August who'd returned from teaching in Sierra Leone. She ended up being cleared. It was around that time that the Sunport discussed health precautions with the CDC and Red Cross. But officials tell me today anyone coming from West Africa will most likely travel through one of the main 5 major airports where additional screenings will take place, so they don't believe they need to do much more. They include JFK, Washington Dulles, Newark, Chicago O'Hare, and Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta.
So it's another layer of protection which will lower even further the possibility of an Ebola-infected individual getting into this country. It won't make it zero, but it will provide substantial greater protection to people in America.
Sunport officials say there is no plan to start additional screenings, but they can, of course, revise the plan if needed. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Gabrielle. Now, a Dallas nurse is the latest to catch Ebola here in the U.S. President Obama is now demanding answers after learning that it was a breach of protocol that caused her to be infected. Adriana Diaz has the latest.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says it's reevaluating protocols for using protective gear and limiting the number of healthcare workers who have contact with Ebola patients. It follows an Ebola diagnosis in Dallas. A nurse who treated the Ebola patient from Liberia who died there last week now has the disease. Hazmat teams spent hours decontaminating areas around her apartment, and a reverse 911 call went out to homes in the neighborhood.
Please be advised that a healthcare worker who lives in your area has tested positive for the Ebola virus.
Now that it's on the same block that I live in, it's definitely a shock.
The CDC is blaming a, quote, breach in protocol. Officials say the nurse was wearing protective gear while caring for Thomas Eric Duncan, but may have gotten the virus while removing the gear. The nurse and one of her close contacts are now in isolation. So far, none of the other workers who treated Duncan here at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital are showing Ebola symptoms. The World Health Organization is giving the most dire assessment yet of the Ebola epidemic.
The outbreak of Ebola virus disease in West Africa is the most severe, acute health emergency seen in modern times.
The virus has already killed more than 4,000 people. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Dallas.
Ebola could have an impact on the world's chocolate supply. Ivory Coast, which produces the raw ingredient in many chocolate bars and candies, has shut its borders with Liberia and Guinea, 2 outbreak countries. That will limit the number of workers who pick cocoa beans.